Are you ready to take the team, not a team quiz? Let's start raising your awareness about how teams behave. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to the Team Coaching Lounge, where leaders and coaches connect and have casual conversations about team coaching and other team-related topics.
Hello, I'm Susan.
And I'm Claudia.
We are both accredited team coaches, and we often work together to co-coach corporate teams. So sit back, relax, and join us for today's conversation.
Are you ready to take the team, not team quiz? Let's raise your awareness a little bit about the differences. And we're going to introduce you just to a couple vignettes, some kind of small little stories, and let's just explore what the possible answer of this could be. Okay, take it away, Susan.
Okay. First little vignette. There are 12 people reporting to one manager with the purpose of providing a service management framework for their company. Some work on change management, some work on problem management. There's another person over here working on processes. And then there's another team in a completely other department that owns incident management. There's little collaboration between these focus areas. Is it a team or not a team?
Do-da, do-da,
Dude.
do-da. Okay. So
Yeah.
my answer would be that they are not a team, because I think that even though they might very well be considered a team on the org chart or on paper, they lack one very important aspect of a team, which is interdependence. Right? They don't need to depend on each other. They don't need to adjust whatever they're doing based on what other people are doing in a fundamental way. So did I guess correct?
You did.
I did.
Yay!
Hey.
Or maybe they do need the interdependence, but they're actually not doing it.
Yeah, in which case they would be what in team coaching lingo we call a pseudo team. It's a team that hasn't gotten the message yet. They haven't gotten the memo that they should actually be more interdependent and leverage each other's strengths more and communicate and get more on the same page and share the vision and strategy and responsibilities amongst them. So it depends, like so many things in team coaching.
Yeah.
Good one. Good one.
Yeah.
So you had a follow-up vignette on this, right?
I did. So
Right.
let's take 4 of those 12 people on that team. So those 4 are working on developing the problem management framework. They're actually all assigned different tasks related to problem management. But they get together weekly and have multi-hour sessions to review their work and determine their impact on other people's work and the dependencies they have. Team or not a team?
Well, maybe if you ask their manager, he or she would say not a team. But in terms of, let's say, from a team coaching perspective, I would say absolutely a team. They have come together to collaborate, to be more together than they would be not together.
Yeah, and without the manager's directive or guidance. So that would be a self-managed team,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Self-constructed and self-managed team. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You see here that teams come in all kinds of different flavors, and it's not necessarily related to any explicit label that's being put on them, even though in a corporate setting very often some resources like team coaching you can only get if you're actually a team on paper.
Yes. And like you said, teams happen everywhere, all around us, every day, right?
Right.
Did you want to give the next vignette?
Yeah, actually, let me jump to an anecdote about a photo club that I'm a member of. I'm an avid photographer. I do my love is actually portraiture. I love working with people. Surprise, surprise. Um, but I also do a lot of event photography. And so I'm a member of this volunteer club that is local here. And sometimes we run exhibits. At least once a year, we have a local exhibit as part of a town festivity about the art here in town. And so we need to go there and we need to set up these exhibits. So there's these huge panels that need to be hung, and then the panels, on top of the panels you have these lights that shine on the photography, and on the other hand you have things like framing pictures and polishing the glass of the picture frames, which if you have 60 of them to do or 100 of them to do is quite a task in itself. So these people come together and everybody kind of knows everything that needs to be done. All the steps are kind of clear because we have been doing this as a matter of routine for a while. But it is really lovely how certain people naturally take charge of certain things. The older people or the less physically fit people might do the framing. Other people might do the high up lights and things like that, or carry the heavy panels that need to be hung on these big metal holders. So
Mhm.
I think that it's really kind of a seamless thing because the contribution happens depending on each person's strengths and weaknesses. And if there's any kind of thing that is unclear or people have done and finished their job, there's easy communication to be assigned or help in a related thing. So
Mhm.
Susan, team or not team?
It's a beautiful example of a team.
Let's say, and
It is because it's just, you've done this before. Inherently, everybody knows what has to be done and they just start jumping in. They know who is physically able to climb up the ladders and hang these big panels and who's not. And there's clearly a level of trust between everybody to know that everything will get done in the time it needs to get done.
right, right. And if stuff were to happen, like there's too many people in one small area, then naturally people would move to other areas and contribute in different ways. Good.
And I'm
Yeah,
guessing if somebody needed help, they
sure
would
enough.
ask.
Yeah. If there was something dangerous happen, if a screw was loose, that
Yeah.
would also be addressed, right? It would be
Yep.
very, yeah, easy going.
Yeah. Nice.
Fantastic.
And Claudia does beautiful portraiture
Oh,
work.
thank you. Yes, I try.
All right. Shall we do another one?
Mhm. Let's.
All right. Um, let's see. So I'll talk a little about my experience volunteering. Claudia has her photography. I work with a group called Animal Disaster Services that houses small animals during fire and flood evacuations. And we have to react at a moment's notice to get set up so we can start intaking these animals from their poor owners who have been removed from their homes. So we often have mock drills to prepare us for what needs to be done in various cases of intaking people, signing in, getting information from the owners, taking in the animals, putting them in crates, making sure they have food, water, litter boxes, all that stuff. And those mock drills prepare us and build our confidence and trust with each other. So when we do have to react on a moment's notice, we all know what has to be done. We know each other is, we've got each other's backs and we trust each other to get it done. And just like in Claudia's example, we ask for help when we need help. If I have to go walk a dog that weighs 150 pounds, I might have somebody go with me in case I can't manage that dog, right? Um, And in the end, because we are so kind of a well-oiled machine, we are confident, we are calm, we create that environment for the animals, which then also relays back to their owners. So they're in a stress situation, but they know and can feel that we are going to take care of their dogs, cats, their loved pets. And so it's a positive effect on the owners, which are our stakeholders.
Stakeholders.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So, team, not a team.
Oh, gorgeous example of a team. And it shows again that teams transcend the corporate setting very often.
Mm-hmm.
We hear things, for instance, about team coaching. Thankfully, these two volunteer teams that we just talked about did not need any coaching. But very often it's people think that it's only for companies, but teams are everywhere. Teams are
Mm-hmm.
everywhere, and some work and some don't. And so it is. Stakeholders exist. The same definitions apply. Communication needs to happen, collaboration, contribution, all these kind of things. It doesn't need to necessarily just be a formal, on paper, on the org chart um, thing in a company. Okay.
So, as we were saying, and I think Claudia mentioned earlier, right? Teams happen everywhere, all around us, all the time. And we got on our call today, and Claudia just told me this story about her vineyards. And it was a perfect example for this discussion. Do you want to tell that story?
Yeah, because if I look a little bit worse for wear, it's because I just rushed here after having helped my dad a little bit in the garden. So my dad is a hobby winemaker, yes, yes, and all of a sudden the forecast announced a really severe frost for tonight. We are towards the latter part of April, which here in Luxembourg is really one of those times when it can get really cold at night and then beautiful sunny days during the day. So grapes are really growing and blossoming. I mean, they haven't blossomed yet, but they start budding. The buds start to open, which is a very dangerous time in terms of frost because the plants are still quite fragile. And several times in the last few years, we have lost a substantial amount of harvest due to these early frosts. So my dad, because as a hobby farmer you can do things like that, has now bought protective covers. They're a type of lightweight cloth or fleece that you put over the grapes. So with this thing being announced, it was like, okay, we have to hit the garden and put these things up because otherwise by tomorrow morning everything is just cooked. And so we went out there, and so we both first of all had the motivation to go out and protect these plants. There wasn't any big debate about yeah or not or whatever. It was just very clear for the both of us, my dad and I, to go out there and do it. And yes, it's a two-person job because these fleeces are like, 10 meters long and 2 meters wide. So it takes more than one person to put them up. But once we were out there, we really came together quite efficiently. We shared tools and we take the leads on tasks like cutting stuff to size or pinning it up and so on. So there wasn't even that much explicit conversation going on, but it was keeping an eye out exactly what the other person doing, anticipating the next steps and being there with the right tools in the right spot to lend a hand and make it a smooth thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
team or not team.
That is absolutely a team. Because I'm picturing, like, had it just been you or just your dad, right? If it was you, you wouldn't be on this call because you'd still be out there
I
covering
would
these
still be out
plants, right? So it's a demonstration of how you came together and how efficiently you worked and how you got things done quickly. Had it been just you, you'd still be out there trying to cover everything and cut everything. God, yeah, it's a perfect example of teams.
Yeah, because one additional thing is we worked together. Because
Mm-hmm.
even if my dad had gone out and wrangled with one covering by himself, and I had gotten out there and wrangling with another cover on another row of plants by myself, that also wouldn't have worked. It worked
No.
well because we worked together, because the together us was more
Mm-hmm.
than the separate us. Okay.
Yeah,
Definitely
absolutely.
team. And this is just a straightforward father-daughter team, with no org chart and no label on it at all. There was just this joint desire to do a good job and an efficient way of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect demonstration of a team.
So, Susan, do you maybe have another example from corporate?
Yeah, I mean, this is a really quick one that we see all the time in corporate um, leadership teams. So, a leadership team, they're a team, they're great, they're functioning, they're efficient. They get together every week and they talk about their goals and what their status is on those goals and efforts. And they do a roundtable and here's what we're going to do in the next week. And then they're done.
They go on their merry way.
And they go on their merry way and they go do their stuff. Is that a team? Not a team.
It's not a team if everybody just does their stuff. Just telling somebody else what you're doing does not magically turn the whole thing into a team. And unfortunately, it's something that we see quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
especially it seems in leadership teams, where the view is very much up towards top
Mm-hmm.
top leadership, or down towards the reports or
Yeah,
their division, rather than also horizontally towards the other members of that leadership team and your peers. It's a very common thing, unfortunately.
it
So not
is.
a team. Yeah.
Not a team. Absolutely not a team.
That being said, it could very much benefit from becoming a team, and maybe even on the org chart they are. Because what would happen if they would put their heads together and streamline processes and leverage each other's strengths and their department strengths, and getting more clarity about the strategic vision for the company
Mm-hmm.
or their division or whatever they're in the leadership of. And so, I think that not functioning as a team leaves a lot of value creation on the table.
And it also, I think we've seen, is it sets the example for the teams that report to them. If they see their leadership team actually functioning and behaving and role modeling those behaviors, then the teams below them will start to function that way as well.
Right.
You
And
agree?
even worse, that if the leadership
They
team
don't.
doesn't
Then
set
they
a
don't
good
do
example,
this.
then it's like, well, they might very well like talk to talk, but they're not walking to walk.
Yeah,
And
they don't
it
talk to each
does.
other. So why do we have to talk to each other? Right.
And oftentimes leadership teams do not realize how much of an example they set for corporate culture. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Got
So
another one?
yeah, let's do one last one here. So it's kind of in a similar kind of thing, that you have a senior director, and you have directors of various sites kind of reporting into this one director. Meaning, let's say it's a division of a particular company that has multiple sites across the world, which in today's global companies, when they need to support a worldwide customer base, that happens. You will have people sit in Europe and other people in the US and other people in Australia or India. So that is very often the case. And all these people do is report into this general director. So everybody does it their way. Everybody is focused on their specific geographical site. Team or not team?
That is not a team. And it's little painful to say that because we've actually seen this. It is not a team, and the biggest impact, because same services they're doing, but because they're focused in their own geographical area and their own geographical customers per se, right? They do it differently in US versus Europe versus India. And the impact is the stakeholders get a different answer for the same question depending on who they ask. And the stakeholders get very confused and frustrated because, wait, I'm asking the same question for the same service, but if I ask this person, it's this. If I ask this person, it's that. What am I supposed to do?
There's
So it
no
has a huge impact on the stakeholders.
on the stakeholders, yeah. And there's also, I think, a lot of duplication of efforts. There's no best practices that can be discussed. There might be no common longer term strategy because everybody just deals with the here and now and doesn't have this shared vision of where the whole division or company needs to get into. And so, a lot again, left on the table if there is not this alignment of looking also horizontally at your peers. And whether or not, it doesn't depend really on what the reporting structure necessarily would look like. It is maybe in the company charter that this should be a hub and spoke kind of situation, but nevertheless not engaging with your peers that have exactly the same tasks and exactly the same issues for the same customers. Is a suboptimal thing to do. Let's use that word.
Yes, suboptimal.
Very politically correct and use that word. Yeah, definitely something to be explored. This was great. I hope that
Yes.
some of the listeners had fun with this. And, highlights for me are teams come in all shapes and sizes. Some not on paper teams could very well have a lot of value out of becoming one or thinking like one.
Right.
Other ones
And
that go
they're
ahead.
all around you. They're all around you. So your homework is to be aware in your day-to-day life. See where team behaviors are happening and where they're not.
Exactly.
And then
Let
look
us
at
know. Let us
let
know in
us
the
know. But
comments if you
yeah,
have
and then
finally gotten the team revelation of like, oh yeah, this is a team thing.
Look around your world and then go to work and see what's happening there. And again,
Right.
like Claudia said, put it in the comments. Let us know what you see.
Let us know. Yeah, we would love to have another one of these with some examples. So let us know your thoughts and your observations in the comments. If you want to show us some love, hit that subscribe button and notification bell and, engage with us in any possible ways on all the different social media presences. That was, but okay.
That works. That works.
Social media. Okie dokie. So thank you very much. This was fun. Let's do another one of these sometime down the road, Suzanne.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.